So in the last class, we have started with the consent, in which we discussed that a consent by coercion is not a free consent, and so that contract will be void. We discussed the detention of the property, the threatening which is given to detain the property, where a person has given a plate to be kept in a safe place. Or we have taken the example of the jewelry one, where the jeweler threatened that he will not return the jewelry until an additional 20,000 is paid. So that we discussed, that comes under coercion. Now today we have the undue influence. So undue influence is where the relation is such that the person who is making the contract is in a position to dominate the will of the other. For example, take the best example you take, that for example, there is a person XYZ, and he is very depressed because he is not getting job. Okay, he has given lots of examination, SSC, railway, bank, PO clerk, all this examination he has given in the last 5 years, but he did not get selected in either of them. If he would pass the mains, then he would not get the interview. If he passed the prelims, he does not get the mains. So this thing happened every time for him. Now as a result of which, what happened, he went to a Baba, and the Baba told him that he was very much depressed. Okay, so the Baba told him that you do one thing, you transfer your property, the land that you have of 10 bigha, to me. So this man told that if doing that would get me a job, then I will do that. The Baba told, yes, definitely you will be getting a job. You just transfer that land to me, and then you will be getting the job. So this person was depressed person and in a dire need of job. So he just went and transferred the property to the Baba. Now, even after that, he did not get any job, neither even as a clerk or PO or blank, whatever it is. Then he was told by one of his lawyer friend that you have been cheated, my friend. Then he initiated a suit. Now, what this person will plea, that the position the Baba was in a dominating position, he used that position to obtain an unfair advantage over me, and because of my depressed position, because I was not getting the job, he get my property transferred to him. So this is the example of undue influence, where the person is in a position to dominate the will of the other and uses that position to obtain an unfair advantage. That is your undue influence. That is undue influence example. Next we have the misrepresentation. So very clearly understand the difference between misrepresentation and fraud. This is a definite. Generally the student gets confused between misrepresentation and fraud. So we will be discussing first misrepresentation and then fraud. Okay. So misrepresentation is the positive assertion. Means, for example, the person who is giving anything, for example, I am giving you the best example, that for example we have Ankit. So Ankit went to a shop and he told that I want to buy a masterpiece of art. I want to decorate my bedroom. So the shopkeeper told that, okay sir, you take this painting. This is 1,000-year-old painting. Now that particular person who is selling the masterpiece to Ankit, he also believes that it is a 1,000 old painting. Ankit bought the painting and he brought it to his home. Then one of uncle came and he has some knowledge regarding this all. So he told that how much did it cost. Then Ankit will tell that, uncle, ये तो 1,000 साल पुराना है, इसे मैंने 15,000 रुपए में खरीदा है. Then he saw the painting and all the masterpiece from all sides. He touched it and told, no, this is not 1,000-year-old. This is just, I guess, it has been made 1 year before only by some common painter. Then he sued the painter, the shopkeeper from which Ankit sued the shopkeeper from which he has bought the masterpiece. In this case, the shopkeeper will take the plea that he also believe it to be true. But this was a case of misrepresentation. This is the case of misrepresentation. Other is the fraud from here. The shopkeeper here know that this painting is made 2 days before only, but he told to Ankit that, Ankit, this is 1,000-year-old painting. In that case, it will amount to fraud. But this is the thing, that in a manner not warranted by the information of the person making it off, which is not true, though he believes it to be true. The person who is here, the shopkeeper, believes that the painting is 1,000 years old. But if the person knows, the shopkeeper knows here that the painting is only made yesterday and he then tell to Ankit, that will amount to fraud. So there is a breach of duty, but there is no intention to take any advantage over the person. Okay. So same is the case of Ankit and the shopkeeper. Although there was a breach of duty in this case, but that shopkeeper did not have any intention by telling that this is 1,000-year old. He also believed that it is 1,000-year old. As a result of which, this is the case of misrepresentation. So he innocently cause a party to make a mistake to the substance of the thing of which is the subject of the agreement. So it was by misleading. Okay, this is the meaning of mistake. This is the meaning of mistake. This is misrepresentation, where he innocently tells there was no bad intention, no malified intention on the part of the shopkeeper in selling that painting by telling that it is 1,000-year old. Now let's see this as an example. The plaintiff, having no time to read the content of a deed, signed it as he was given the impression by the defendant that it contained nothing but the formal matter already settled between them. The deed was, however, contained a release in favor of the defendant. Accordingly, the plaintiff was allowed to set aside the deed. Okay, so this was intentional thing, है ना? For example, tomorrow Lighting Dreams had a contract with any other organization for any program. Okay, for example, we are organizing a event, guest lecture, for example. Okay, now Lighting Dream had a collaboration with any organization for this event. Now, when the terms and agreement was signed for this, that time what happened? They discussed Lighting Dream, Kanish Bhaiya from Lighting Dream and the organization, the person from the organization, X person from the organization, they discuss it and they told, Kanish told that, okay, you make the term and condition, send it to us, we will sign it and then the agreement will be done regarding the collaboration. Okay. Now, when that person X came to Kanish Bhaiya to Lighting Dreams office that okay, sign it, then Kanish told that okay, these are only that thing no, that we have discussed. He told yes, yes. And Kanish Bhaiya is a very busy person. He has to manage Lighting Dream. He has to manage his law school. Okay, there is moot court, debate, and all these things are there. Internship is there. So he told okay, okay, no problem. Whatever you have told, I am signing it. Whatever we have discussed, if it is the same. He signed it, but one of the clauses in that agreement that Kanish signed was that what to take. Although Lighting Dream don't charge any money. For example, in this case, let's take the hypothetical situation. In that, it was written that 60% of the amount will be given to that organization and only 40% will be given to Lighting Dreams, whatever amount will be collected. And it was discussed between them at the time of agreement that only 50-50 they will be taking, 50 Lighting Dream and 50 organization. But however, it was changed and 60% was made. In this case, the plaintiff was allowed to set aside the deed. Kanish will be allowed to set aside the deed because there was a change in the deed, and he was the person, that is the X person from the organization, was telling lie to Kanish Bhaiya. So this is the contract will be set aside. Another is a change of circumstances. Okay, this is a very famous case that you will be reading in the law school, that is with O'Flanagan. So in the negotiation for the sale of his medical practice, the defendant represented that his practice had bought it euro 2,000 per annum for the preceding 3 years. Don't read there, I am telling you. Listen to me. What happened in this case of Witt versus O'Flanagan? That for example, there are two doctors. Okay, there is one doctor whose name is K. Now a person come and told that I want to buy your medical practice. So K told that okay, no problem. My medical practice is giving me euro 2,000 per annum for the preceding 3 years, and it has a specified number of patients also coming on my panel. So the negotiation was there, and then the contract was made after 5 months. Now, during this 5 period, what happened? The defendant here, that is KA, became ill and he could not attend the practice, as a result of which the practice got affected. There was irreparable injury, okay, and there was serious loss to it. But this thing come to the purchaser, that is who had come to purchase the medical service of KA. This he came to only once the completion of the sale was done. It was held by the court that this person who has come to buy the medical service from KA is entitled to rescind the contract, because according to Indian Contract Act, any change of circumstances had to be informed to the offeree. So in this case, it was the duty of KA that she had to, or he had to inform the person who has came to buy the medical practice that, sir, I am now not keeping well, as a result of which my medical practice is not gaining that much of money, that euro 2000 per annum which it was getting before. So these are the things. Now you can see that whether you want to buy the medical service or not. This would have been the duty of KA, but KA did not did it, and the court told that the contract can be rescinded because any change of the circumstances, any change of the circumstances had to be informed by KA or the offerer. He had to inform that there is a change in the circumstances. That was all about your mistake. In the mistake, the major difference that we have to understand between misrepresentation and fraud is that in misrepresentation, the person believe it that it is true. In misrepresentation, the person believe it that it is true. Okay, there is no intention from him to get an advantage over anyone. There is no intention on him to get any advantage, as we have taken the example of the painting. The painter or the shopkeeper himself knew that it was a 1000 old painting. Okay, it was a 1000 old painting, and he sold to Ankit Yadav. Okay, but in the case of fraud, what will happen that when we are discussing fraud in this, the shopkeeper will knew that the painting is not 1000 year ago old. In spite of that, he will be telling to Ankit that this painting is 1000 year old, and Ankit will be buying it. Now when Ankit went home, the same uncle came and told that this painting is not 1000 year old, Ankit, and in that case, when he will be suing the shopkeeper, that will be amount to fraud under section 17 of the Indian Contract Act. So of that which is not true by one who does not believe it to be true, the active concealment of a fact by one having intention to deceive, a promise made without any intention of performing it. So there was an intention on the part of the shopkeeper that he wanted to sell this. The shopkeeper wanted to sell the painting to Ankit at a cost of 20,000 rupees by telling him that it is a 1000 old painting. So there was an intention, there was an active concealment of the fact. In this case, it will amount to fraud. And in misrepresentation, there is no active concealment. The person telling it to believe that what he is telling is true. Okay, but here under section 17, the promise that is made is without any intention to perform it. Okay, now there is a case example given in here that A is a person who agrees to buy from B a certain horse. Okay, it turns out that the horse was dead at the time of the bargain, though neither party was aware of the fact. The agreement in this case, this agreement will consider to be void. So this is the mistake. So the section provides that where both the parties to the agreement are under a mistake as to a matter of fact essential to the agreement is void. As we have seen the example that there is a agreement between A and B to buy a horse. Okay. Now after the contract is done, when A took the horse to his house to keep it in the stable, he found that the horse is dead, but mostly were dead at the time of the bargaining only. But neither the party, neither A nor B, was aware of the fact that the horse was dead. This agreement is considered under the Indian Contract Act as void because of the section 20, that is, which state that where both the parties to an agreement are under a mistake as to a matter of fact, then that agreement will be considered to be void. Okay. Now here is one other important thing that we must understand. यहाँ पे question twist हो जाएगा. For example, how a contract is not voidable merely because it was caused by one of the party to it being under a mistake. Now, for example, then it will amount to what, guys? Then it will be becoming misrepresentation. It can be fraud. But section 20 will not apply in this case. This is not mistake. If one of the party is under a mistake, that the, for example, A and B is the agreement. Okay, A is under the mistake or B is under the mistake that the horse is alive or the horse is dead, then that will not amount to making the contract voidable. So both the party, a contract will only be voidable only when both the party are under a mistake of fact, not a mistake of law. As you have must practice that question also, that there was a person coming from flight. Okay, so he was carrying gold of whatever amount you can take. For example, hypothetical situation, 50 gram is only allowed in India while he was on the flight. The moment he was on the flight, the Indian government changed the notification and allowed it to bring only 30 gram of gold for an international passenger. This man was caught in the airport and he told that I did not have any knowledge about this change in law. But the court held that ignorance of law is no excuse. Ignorance of fact is excusable, but ignorance of law is not excusable. So there should be a mistake of the matter of the fact, not a matter of law for the making the contract avoidable. Okay, so here we have the case of the Bolton versus Jones, in which the plaintiff had taken over the business of one Brocklehurst. Okay, there is a plaintiff. For example, we have Kinjla. So Kinjla has taken over the business of one Brocklehurst, and then there is a defendant who is Ankit Yadav. So Ankit Yadav used to have the deal with always Brocklehurst. Okay, and he did not have the knowledge that the business has been taken by Kinjla. So he sent the order for the certain good to Brocklehurst only. The order was received by Kinjla, okay, and he sent the good to this Ankit. He sent the good to Ankit. Now Ankit came to know about this only when the time came for the giving the payment of the money, and by that time he had already consumed the money. He had a set off against the Brocklehurst and he refused to pay the price. The plaintiff sued him. The unanimous judgment held that the defendant is not liable because he had an agreement with, he thought that he is making the agreement with Brocklehurst. Okay, but the defendant was making the plaintiff, that is in this case Kinjla, Kinjla was making the agreement with Ankit directly, but the business was taken over by Kinjla. Okay, but Ankit thought that the same business is continuing, that Brocklehurst was continue. So because he did not have a contract with Kinjla and there was no information to Ankit regarding the change of the circumstances, the agreement was had to be set aside. So as we have discussed, that if there is any change of circumstances, it is the duty of the plaintiff or in the offerer to intimate it to Ankit. It would have been the duty of Kinjla. He should have informed Ankit that the business is not taken by me, not Brocklehurst is the business anymore. The business is not running under this Brocklehurst anymore. Is it clear to everyone? Yeah. One more example of change in. Yeah, sir. Just now, Ankit, what we have taken the example is the same of the. Yeah. Just now we have taken the example of. Yeah. Okay. Of change in circumstances. Kinjla has taken over the business. Kinjla has taken over the business. It was the duty of Kinjla to inform Ankit, but you that she had taken the business. Okay, this was the change in the circumstances, but you did the business with Brocklehurst. You were under the assumption that you are doing the business under with Brocklehurst. What is the difference between mistake and misrepresentation? So mistake is there. See, mistake is there. Okay, that there should be in under mistake. Both the parties should be under a mistake of fact. Okay, both the parties should be under a mistake of fact. And under misrepresentation, even if one of the party is under the mistake of fact, then it will be considered as misrepresentation. There is no active concealment in mistake. The particular shopkeeper was thinking and he held that it is 1000-year old. That is your misrepresentation on the part of the shopkeeper. But in this case of mistake, here both the parties should be to the mistake of fact and not mistake of law. That is the difference. Now we come to a very important topic. So as I have told you, three issue come from contract, acceptance, proposal. Then you have the consent from the coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation, mistake. This all we have discussed. And the next important passages generally that you get is the bailment. So what is bailment? Let's understand. The best example I am giving you for the bailment. For example, let's take the example of Ankit. That as we have, Ankit has the birthday on 30th of September. So Ankit is keeping a brand very big party. Okay, he has invited everyone from his school, from his coaching, from Lighting Dreams, all his friends, all the admins of Lighting Dream, and then his family members and all. So today is 23rd, and after the class, Ankit went to at 6:30 p.m. Ankit went to a tailor and tell that भैया ये कपड़ा है लो, ये इसको stitch कर दो एकदम झकास, मेरा birthday है 30th को. So kindly do it before. Tell me when you will be doing it. So listen very carefully the facts that I am telling you. Okay. So Ankit went to the shopkeeper. He gave the clothes. Okay, for example, if it is a ready-made, then he would have given it for just fitting and all. If it is not ready-made, if he has taken the cloth, then he wanted to get it stitched, so he will be wearing formal. Okay, because his teachers are also coming, and then the admins of lighting teams are coming. So he told his father that I will be wearing formal dress. Okay, so his father told, okay, then get it stitched. So he gave it to the cloth was given to the tailor. Okay, now what will the tailor do? The tailor will take the stitch, but take the measurement of yours, okay, your shirt and for your shirt and pant, because it is a formal dress, so it will be pant and not jeans. And then the tailor will had taken the measurement, all kind of measurement, and he told okay. And then he made a bill that itna itna centimeter meter ye hai, and this is the amount that you need to pay me, and take it on 28th of September, because stitching a dress does not take too much time if it is off season. Now if you go during the Durga Puja, Diwali, Chhath, Holi, then it will take more than 1 week, 2 week also they can take. So that this person, the tailor, gave you a invoice the bill, that you should come on 28th September at the evening time and take it. So he told that okay, I am having class till 6:30 p.m. I will be taking it after 6:30 p.m. After the class is over, I will come and take the dress. He told that okay, then no issue. Now he get the bill and he returned to home on 28th September. He came to the class and he did the class, whatever class we had. If class is continuing till that day, I am giving you the example. And he told that okay, now अब तो मैं जाऊंगा वहाँ पे लेने के लिए. When you went there, that person told that it is not ready. You come tomorrow morning. And he told okay, no problem. That is no big deal. Then he told okay, come tomorrow morning. Then Ankit went tomorrow morning. He told that नहीं हुआ है भैया, अभी तो 10 ही बज रहे हैं, आप 1 बजे 2 बजे तक आइए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बन जाएगा, आप टेंशन मत लीजिए. He told okay sir, I will be coming at 1 and 2. So Ankit's father told that why you will be going in the afternoon, better go in the evening. So he told that okay, evening में तो मेरा क्लास है, फिर तो मैं 5 ही बजे चल जाता हूँ, ऐसा करता हूँ. So his father told no, don't go at 5 because I have half an hour, you will be coming or not. So he told okay, I will be going at 6:30. So he went to 6:30 and he found that the shop is closed. So it is already 29th is over. The shop is closed and the party is on 30th. Now then he was very sad. His father told, "Don't worry. Tomorrow morning we will be going and taking the dress. Will must be ready. We will be taking it. You just wear it in the party. Okay, don't be sad." But whole night Ankit thought that अरे यार कल सुबह दुकान खुलेगा नहीं खुलेगा, क्या होगा क्या नहीं, इतने सारे लोग आएंगे, क्या होगा, मैं अब तो फॉर्मल नहीं पहन पाऊंगा, मुझे पुराना ड्रेस पहनना पड़ेगा, सब बेकार हो गया. That all thing. On 30th also he went to the tailor and he saw that it is closed. Okay, 30th morning. On 30th he went to again he went around 4 p.m. His father told okay, no problem, अगर नहीं होगा तो तुमको एक ड्रेस खरीद देंगे 4 बजे, क्या दिक्कत है, चलो. His father and Ankit went and he found that the shop was open. Ankit became very happy. Okay, and he told that give me the dress. Then the manager or the malik to whom you have given the goods, he was not there. His servant was there, and he told that which dress you are talking, that black jeans and white shirt kapra that you have given for stitching. He told Ankit told yes. Then he told that it is lost. He told what? Ankit will tell you what it is lost. What are you telling? I cannot understand. And told that yeah, it was lost by the one of the staff or by the manager himself. Then Ankit became very sad. Then his father told no issue, let's go to the market and buy a dress. Then Ankit told no, I am a law student, I will sue this person for bailment. So now come the point, what is bailment? Section 148 of the Indian Contract Act tells that there should be a delivery of the goods from one person to another for a specific purpose, and upon a contract, when the purpose is fulfilled, the goods has to be returned or dealt with on the direction of the person who has delivered the good, guys. What are the essential circumstances? There should be delivery of good from one person to another for a specific purpose. When the purpose is fulfilled, that time you have to return the good to that person who has given you the good. For example, Pankaj went to a laundry. Pankaj Law College is going to open, for example, on 2nd of October. Okay, not 2nd of October. 2nd of October is Saturday. Let's take 4th, 5th of October. He went to the laundry and tell that भैया ये मेरा suit है, okay, black suit, okay, the uniform of your law school. He told that this is the suit I am having. Kindly do this do one thing, that get it wash, okay, मतलब क्या बोलते हैं इसको, dry clean, yeah, get it dry clean. Okay, he told that no issue, dry clean we will be doing it by 25th, it will be done. Okay, very good. So Pankaj said, okay, no problem. What is the amount? He told that 100 rupees or 200 rupees, whatever it is, I will be taking for the dry clean. So there is the delivery of good, guys, by Pankaj. Specific purpose is there. What is the specific purpose? The dry cleaning purpose is fulfilled. Dry cleaning is done. So the good laundry wala has to return that good. But when Pankaj went on 25th, the laundry wala told that it is not yet done. Then again 26, 27 it continues. Now it is 2nd of October. Now Pankaj has to leave because the college is very far from his home. So Pankaj told that up to dena hi padega. Now he told that one of my staff has taken it for dry cleaning and he has eloped with your suit. You will initiate a suit for bailment. You will initiate a suit for bailment because the good was not returned after the purpose was over. After the purpose was over, the goods was not returned, as a result of which you will sue for bailment. So there was delivery of good by Pankaj. There was specific purpose for it. The purpose was fulfilled, but it was not returned, and so it was a case of bailment. You will sue him for bailment. So the person who is the owner and deliver, for example, in this case it was Pankaj, he will be called the bailer, and the laundry wala will be called the bail. Now comes that what are the goods that can be delivered. So only that goods that are of movable nature can be bailed. Okay. However, current money or legal tender cannot be bailed. Just a minute. And deposition of money will not be counted as bailment, as money is not a good, and same money will not be delivered back to client. Now we are coming to that when you deliver the money in the bank, when you okay, first Pankaj ask the question what you are asking. नहीं बात तो वही तो बोले, इसीलिए तो बोले कि उसके उसके अगेंस्ट यू कैन इनिशिएट अ सूट. Okay, I told that I told that you will initiate a suit for bailment, for the case of bailment. Okay. मतलब नहीं समझे. अच्छा ठीक है कोई बात नहीं. So that is the thing I told. So that there was no bailment in this case. You will initiate a suit, okay, because you will tell that why I have given him the suit. There was a specific purpose. Okay, the purpose was over of the suit for the dry cleaning, but he did not return me. Now it is told that it should be only a movable property can only be bailed. So here comes the bank bailment. So here it is telling that when you keep the money, when you deposit amount of, for example, Manish is there now. So Manish has become a very big lawyer, and he has heard there was a hearing of the case, and he got 1 lakh rupees for that hearing. So he's a lawyer in Supreme Court. That's why he has got 1 lakh rupees. So he went to the Bank of Baroda, okay, like Bank of Baroda or any bank, SBI, PNB, whatever it is, and he deposited the money there, and he received the check. Okay, now in this case, if money is saying that this is a bailment purpose, that is not a bailment. Why it is not bailment, guys? Because the same money, the notes, the 1000 to not 1000, 2000 and 500 notes that Manish has given to the bank, he will not be getting the same notes back. Will he be getting, guys? जो पैसा हम जमा करते हैं वही पैसा हमें एटीएम में वापस आता है क्या? नहीं, है ना. तो इसीलिए he will not be getting the same note, और इसीलिए there it will not be considered as a case of bailment. So money or legal tender cannot be bailed. Only and only movable property is there. So for example, take the case that Kinjla is going to the marriage ceremony of his of her brother or sister, whatever it is. So she has She has lots of necklace in his house. Okay, now she went to the jewelry wala and told that bhaiya, you keep this jewelry with you, and when I will be returning back, you would return me the jewelry also. So he told that okay okay मैडम आप टेंशन मत लीजिए, आप ज्वेलरी डिपॉजिट कर दीजिए, मतलब यहाँ जमा कर दीजिए, आपको हम ये रिसिप्ट दे देते हैं, आप आइएगा, you will be getting your jewelry back. Then the marriage of her sister or brother is over. She enjoyed a lot and she came back and went to the jewelry wala and told that भैया मेरा जो ज्वेलरी है वो वापस कर दीजिए. And then the jewelry wala took out the jewelry and took the receipt and returned it back to Kinjla. This is the case of bailment. So what is the essential features of bailment? There should be a delivery of good. Here what happened? The delivery of the possession should be there. What happened? Kinjla delivered the jewelry to the jewelry wala. So there was an delivery of the good. But for example, Kinjla went to the jewelry wala and told that भैया ये ज्वेलरी रखो लॉकर में मैं रखूंगी और मैं ताला चाबी बंद करूंगी और चाबी मेरे पास रहेगा, चाबी मेरे पास रहेगा. He came back from the party marriage anniversary and he went and opened the locker with his key. The key was there was only one key or two key. Both the key was with Kinjla only. That is not a bailment. So there should be an actual delivery of the possession should be there to the person. Okay. That's why we do not consider the bank locker. Okay. We do not consider the bank locker as a bailment. Because what happened guys there, when you keep something in the bank locker, the key of that locker is only with you. The bank staff, the bank manager, the PO, none of them have that key to open the amount, to open the your locker. The key, if it is 2, 3, 4, whatever the number of keys is there for your locker, all the keys will be with you. So if there is any issue with your locker, then the bank will not be responsible as a case of bailment. Okay, because there was not an actual delivery of the possession. Okay, same is the case of the jewelry that Kinjla has given. Kinjla told that I will be keeping the jewelry, I will be locking it, and the keys will be with me. You just keep it here safe because it is not safe in my house. But if Kinjla would have given the directly, she has kept the jewelry in front of the shopkeeper and told her, "भैया ये jewelry रख लो और इसे ठीक से रखना." That would be have been the actual delivery of the possession. So in for the bailment purpose, there should be an actual delivery of the possession. That is very compulsory. There should be an actual delivery of the possession. So it can be either actual or constructive. Okay, so it means that either the good can directly be put in the actual physical possession of the belly or put the belly in a position of power over such good so that he can be physically possessed later if possible. So what I am telling, see, in this actual position where you directly give the goods to the belly. Okay, there another is the second case where Kinjla has kept the jewelry in the locker of the jewelry shop. One of the key was with Kinjla and another key she gave to the jewelry wala that भैया ये key आप रखो, अगर कोई दिक्कत हुआ तो आपके पास भी एक चाबी रहना चाहिए. This is constructive delivery. This is not an actual delivery. So he has the access to the key to the locker where the goods has been kept, but there was no actual delivery in this case, and that will be the constructive bailment, the constructive delivery of possession. But for bailment, it should be an actual delivery of the possession. The goods should have been given by Kinjla, not the key. The key is just a custody. If Kinjla is giving the key, that is just a custody. That is not a bailment, not an actual delivery of the possession. Okay, so for example, C has a rare coin locked safe deposit box. As the delivery of a safe deposit box is impossible, when C, bailer, gives the key of the deposit box for the bailment of the coin to A bailee, it would be considered as constructive delivery. What I told that, for example, there is a safe deposit box in which a rare coin is kept by Ankit. Ankit is he has a habit of keeping the old coins. Okay, so a rare coin has been kept in a safe delivery box. Now, instead of giving the safe deposit box, what Ankit did, he gave to Pankaj the key of that deposit box. This will be considered to be a constructive delivery. This would not be the actual delivery of the possession. So this is, so for the bailment, the first essential thing is that there should be a delivery by the bailer to the bailee, the actual delivery of the possession, the amount should be given, the goods should be given, that should be a movable property, the movable goods. Second is the delivery should be upon a contract. That is, there must be a contract between the bailor and the bailee. The receipt that the jewelry वाला gave to Kinjla, that ठीक है मैं ये ज्वेलरी रखता हूँ आप ये receipt रखो, this is the contract. If there is no contract between the bailor and the bailee, that is Kinjla and jewelry वाला in this case, then it will not be considered to be a bailment. Okay, either it can be express or implied, that we have done when we have started the contract lecture series, that what is an express acceptance, what is an implied acceptance, we have done this. But there should be a contract between Kinjla and jewelry wala, Pankaj and laundry wala, Ankit and anyone, whoever he is doing the bailment thing. So there should be a contract. The third essential criteria for bailment is that delivery should be upon for some purpose. That there must be a purpose for which the delivery of the good take place, and after the completion of the purpose of the bailment, the good is not accounted for, then bailment cannot. So see, it is written that there should be a purpose for why you are giving the goods. Okay, so why Kinjla gave the jewelry to the jewelry wala? Because he was going outside, her house was not safe, so he gave. Pankaj gave the suit to the laundry wala because he has to go to the law college and there he has to wear that suit, so he needs a dry cleaning of the suit. So that is the purpose for which the product, the goods should be given. There should be a purpose for the same, then only it will be a bailment. In that case only it will be a bailment. Then we have the return of good. So after the completion of the purpose, the goods must be delivered to the bailor or dealt with as per his instruction. So what happened? Kinjla gave it to the jewelry wala. Okay, Kinjla gave it to the jewelry wala, and the jewelry wala ko boli ki when I will be returning, you can give it you will return the jewelry to me. He told, okay madam, once when you will be returning from your brother or sister marriage, I will be giving it. So the purpose of this bailment is over. So the goods should be given back by the bailee to the bailor, matlab jewelry wala to Kinjla. Or if Kinjla would have told that when I will return, I will not myself come to take the jewelry. You do one thing, with your servant you send it to my house. That will also be a bailment only, and the jewelry wala has to return the good according to the direction given by Kinjla. That is, with the help of the servant, he will be asking the servant that go and deliver it to house number 1104, Carol Bagh, New Delhi, where Kinjla is residing. Okay, and if he or she, that is the jewelry wala, Kinjla is a very big judge, and he told that acha theek hai aap rakh lo, koi dikkat nahi hai. There is no bailment, guys, in that case. Okay, this will be not be a bailment if he is not bound to return the good. So even if there is an agreement to return an equivalent and not the same good, it will not amount to bailment. You have to take the same thing what you have given. If you have given a jewelry of 10 gram, you have to take it back, the whole 10 gram jewelry. Or if you have given 10 suit, okay, Pankaj told that all his friends that you give all your suit to me, I will be making the dry clean. So all the 10 suit has to be returned. Okay, so the same good has to be returned. Now the jewelry wala tell that madam, your jewelry was very beautiful, I have given it to my wife or my daughter-in-law, so better you do, I am paying you the amount of that jewelry. No man, that is not bailment. That is not section 148 of the Indian Contract Act. The laundry वाला tell to Pankaj that sir वो तो भुला गया, वो तो खराब हो गया, ऐसा करता है, मैम आपको दूसरा नया 10 दे देते हैं सूट. तो ले तो लेगा पंकज, कोई भी रहेगा उसकी जगह, he will be taking that new suit, but that will not be a bailment under section 148 because that same good has to be returned back by the bailee to the bailor, by the jewelry wala to Kinjla, by the laundry wala to Pankaj. So a tailor receives a sari for stitching as he is the bailee. After the sari has been stitched, the tailor is supposed to return it to the bailor. This is a very common thing that we are doing. Clear everyone? Any doubt? सबको क्लियर है? ठीक है, so these are the thing that the essentials of the delivery. There's the essentials of the delivery, that the delivery should be for a possession. Okay, the delivery should be upon a contract. The delivery must be some for purpose, and there should be the goods should be returned. Now there are two type of bailment, that is gratuitous bailment and non-gratuitous bailment. So gratuitous bailment is when the bailment is made without any consideration of the benefit to the bailer or to the bailee. It is referred to as the gratuitous bailment. For example, Ankit called Pankaj and told that, "Bhai, give me any book, give me the GMB." So he told that, "Okay, you keep the GMB, no problem. You keep it with yourself. You study the GMB and you then return it back to me." This is gratuitous bailment. Okay. When generally there is a consideration for bailment between the bailer and bailee, it is referred to as the. For example, Ankit called to Pankaj and told that, "Pankaj, I want the GMB from you." Then Pankaj said, "Okay, give me 5,000 rupees and take the GMB." So this is the consideration. This is non-gratuitous bailment. But in the first case, the Pankaj told that, "Okay, you take the GMBs, read it and return it back to me." So the example is there that when someone gets a book issued from a library in exchange for a fee, there is non-gratuitous bailment. You pay the fee, you get the card, and then it is told to you that after you have read the book, it is your duty to return the book. If you're not returning it, no, they will be charging you the amount of the book. Okay. Now, another is to disclose the known fault. Now, it will be the duty of the bailer to inform the bailee. It will be the duty of Pankaj to inform the laundry wala. It would be the duty of Kinjla to inform the jewelry wala that there is some default in the way whatever I am giving. For example, Ankit came to Pankaj that tomorrow I have to give my examination of class 11. So, Pankaj, can you lend me your car? He told that, "Okay, I will be lending you car, no issue." But the car brakes were not working properly. This fact was not told by Pankaj to Ankit. Now Ankit very smartly he started driving, and then he went to the school, and there suddenly a big truck came in front of the school, and then he could not apply the brake because the brake was not working properly. If does not matter whether the goods are gratuitous or non-gratuitous, the bailer has a duty to disclose all the known fault about that good that is being bailed to the bailee. Failing to do so would make the bailer liable to indemnify the bailee for all the damage caused to him directly from this fault. Now, because of the accident, the hands and the legs of the Pankaj was broken. It will be the duty of hands of Ankit is broken. It will be the duty of Pankaj to pay him the amount of the hospital charge. उसके अलावा फ्रूट रूट भी देते रहना साथ में, है ना, फ्रूट किशमिश बादाम से किसे भी पिलाते रहना. Okay, so he or she has to inform the bailee that these are the problem that is there. For example, see, A lends his bike to B. A is aware of the fact that the bike brakes are not working properly and fails to inform the same to B. B met with an accident and is severely injured. A is liable to pay B for the damages that we have discussed now. Then we have the part of to take the reasonable care of the good bailed. So according to section 151, whether it was a gratuitous bailment or non-gratuitous bailment, it is the duty of the laundry wala to take care of the suit that is given by Pankaj. It is the duty of the jewelry wala to take care of the jewelry that was given by Kinjla. अब वहां से अगर आपके यहाँ से चोरी हो जाता है ज्वेलरी, तो यू विल बी लायबल, मतलब कि द बेली द ज्वेलरी वाला विल बी लायबल. अगर द सूट इज अगर सूट जो है, जो सूट ड्राई क्लीनिंग के लिए दिया गया है, इफ इट इज अगर वहां से चोरी हो जाता है, तो द बेली विल बी लायबल, द लॉन्ड्री वाला विल बी लायबल इन दैट केस. So irrespective of the fact that the bailment is gratuitous or non-gratuitous, the bailee has a duty to take reasonable care of the goods bailed. Now, if the reasonable care is taken, okay, if even after taking reasonable care the goods are damaged or destroyed, the bailee is not liable for the loss for the bailed good. For example, there is CCTV camera in the jewelry shop. Okay, there are lots of guards every time present day and night around the whole shop. Then also the goods are being theft is done of the jewelry. In that case, the jewelry wala will not be liable. For example, the suit is being dry cleaned by the laundry wala, and the dry cleaner has taken all the precaution. He has used all the best amount of best detergent, best machine, and everything is the best. In spite of that, there is a damage caused to the suit is destroyed in one way or the other. In that case, guys, the laundry wala will not be held liable. So this is A bailed his dog to B for a week at a daily charge of ₹100. As A came to B to reserve the dog after a week, he found out that the dog was stolen from B. If it is proved by B that he took reasonable care of the dog, but still the dog was stolen, then he will not be held responsible. But if however A proves that B didn't take reasonable care, say left the dog unchained, B would be held responsible. Okay, so there should be a reasonable care. Just we have the under Article 19 of the Constitution, we have the reasonable restriction under 19 clause 2. We have freedom of speech and expression, जो मन में आता है बोल दो, but we have the reasonable restriction. It should not be against the state, it should not be against the foreign territory. In that case सेडिशन का चार्ज लगा देंगे, है ना, नहीं तो फिर तो इसी तरह इट शुड बी रीजनेबल केयर शुड बी हैव बीन टेकन बाय द बेली. अगर रीजनेबल केयर प्रूव हो जाता है देन ही विल नॉट बी लाइबल. बट इफ पंकज प्रूव दैट दिस लॉन्ड्री वाला और किंजला प्रूव दैट दिस ज्वेलरी वाला डिड नॉट टुक द रीजनेबल केयर दैट ही शुड हैव टेकन, देयर वाज नो कैमरा in the shop, there was no guards kept, he did not use the best detergent, then the bailey will be liable to pay Pankaj. And the last part of the bailment that comes is the mixing of the good. So there are three circumstances in which the mixing of the good is taken into consideration. Where the first is section 155. You don't have to remember the section now in your CLAT preparation. You have to remember it while you will be in the law school, while you will be preparing for the judiciary, while you will be fighting, you will be becoming, you will be going in the corporate sector. That time you have to remember these sections. Now you don't have to remember the section. According to section 155, if mixed with the consent of the bailer, both of them will have a proportionate interest in the mixed produce. Okay, so there is a, for example, there is a good that is, for example, Pankaj has given rice of 60 kg to Ankit that you keep it with you. Okay, now Ankit with the consent of Pankaj mixed the 60 kg of rice with his 40 kg of rice. In that case, if the liability is there, if the loss is there, then both will have a proportionate loss and proportionate liability. Section 156 tells that if mixed without the consent of the bailer, and if it can be divided, the bailer has to bear all the expenses for the same and damages caused due to the mixture. Okay, for example, Pankaj has given the same 60 kg of rice to Ankit. Ankit mix it without the consent of Pankaj. Ankit mix it without the consent of Pankaj with his 40 kg rice. But if it can be divided, then the division and the division charge and the damages that would be caused because of the mixture, it will be Ankit who has to pay to Pankaj. Third is when the 40 kg and 60 kg rice are mixed by Ankit and the mixture is beyond separation, in that case the bailee is required to compensate the bailer for the loss of the good. The whole loss that Pankaj has acquired if he has given 6 kg of rice at 60 rupees. So whatever loss Pankaj has incurred, Ankit has to pay. So three circumstances are there for your mixing of the good. First, if it is mixed with consent, both will be liable proportionately. If it is mixed without consent, it can be separated. Then he have to bear the expenses of all the, say, whatever damage will be caused because of the mixture. And if it is mixed without the consent of the bailer and it cannot be separated, in that case the bailee has to compensate the bailer for the loss. In this case, Ankit has to pay the compensation to Pankaj that lo bhai tum paisa le lo because there is a loss to you. That's all for the contract for your CLAT preparation in this series. That you had the acceptance, proposal, communication, free consent should be there, there should be no undue influence, coercion, and we understood the topic bailment. These are the only three issues that will come for your contract part. That's all for today. We end the class now.